In this video, we are going to be building what I think is one of the top tier decks that you can use in Lorcana as the game has its first set released, the first chapter, and that deck is going to be the Ruby Amethyst or the red purple deck. It is a very strong control deck. Now, linked in the description is a match that I played where I kind of showcased some of the power with the deck. You have a couple of different boss monsters, air quotes, but your key engine is going to be your 7-drop Dr. Facilier, which will allow you to reoccur characters whenever they're banished. You combine this with the explosive power of Red's rush characters like Maui. As soon as you play him, you rush Reckless, so you can just play him and challenge right away. And then if he gets banished, he comes back to your hand. So you just have like instant challenge removal. And then to deal with those pesky evasive characters, you also play the red removal spells like the Dragonfire, which I can't seem to find. There it is. Just banish the chosen character. So this deck is good because it counters the powerful Cusco control, where you can kind of just Maui swing right into Cusco, get it off the field right away. And if your Maui gets banished with the Dr. Facilier on board, you just bring it back to hand. Combine that with purple's draw power. You play maybe one or two copies, or two or three copies maybe of the Queen. She just taps, draw a card. And then of course you can also play what I like to call the Pot of Greed, which is Friends on the Other Side for 3 mana, or sing the song with a character 3 or more. You just draw 2 cards. Super incredible card. Pot of Greed, right? Day 1 cards, they're going to become broken over time. So let's go ahead and start putting this together. In my build, I focus on having a lot of board presence early on. So we're going to run 4 Pascal. I'm used to Yu-Gi-Oh! Where you can only run 3 copies of a card. We're going to run 3 to 4 copies of Tibbs. The Shield of Virtue, I'm going to opt for 2. I've tried this out. It seems to be half decent. Time will tell if we'll continue to play it, but 3 mana to untap a card, which then can challenge or keep itself safe, is really good. We're going to max out on the 2-drop Dr. Facilier because it has Challenger 2 and 4 toughness, which is crazy. And then you can shift your 7 Dr. Facilier for 5 over top of it. So this is really good. And I think that's it for the 1s. And then the 2s, we're also going to play 4 LeFou. This card is nuts. Play it, ready a character, protects them, right? Super awesome. You could opt to play the Magic Mirror, but because it's not inkable, I'm opting to not play it. Because as you see us put the higher cost cards into the deck, you're going to see that we're going to get higher up in the non-inkable count, and you definitely don't want to end up bricking on non-inkable cards because your big boss monsters are definitely going to want to have to see the field for you to win. So if you don't end up getting the ink you need to put them on board, you're going to lose. Yzma is a interesting option for a 2 inkable. You could run 2 of this if you wanted more lower cost cards to play early on, but for right now I'm not going to play her. I'm going to play the Aladdin because we do play Aladdin as well. Aladdin is insanely broken. In one of the games that I played, I've only played two so far as of me making this video, but my opponent was getting ahead of me, and as soon as I got the Aladdin on board, I just took control of the entire game. It was absolutely crazy. The 7-drop Aladdin is super busted. We're also going to play 4 of the 3-drop Elsa. So if your opponent is afraid of your Aladdin or cards that you'll banish and gain advantage from, you can play stuff like the Elsa, this one, and the 8-drop to forcefully exert their characters and then banish them with the Aladdin. So you can see the control aspect coming into this deck already. Of course, we're playing 4 of the Pot of Greeds, and then as well we're going to play 4 Maleficent. This card is just a 3-drop, a body that's 2/2, lowers for 1, but also draws you a card under the Dr. Facilier. Again, make sure you watch that match that I posted down below because I kind of showcased this. Under the Dr. Facilier, if you challenge this card, challenge with this card, or your opponent challenges it and banishes it, you're getting it back to your hand. So you actually, with the Dr. Facilier on your board, you actually want this card to get banished so that you can bring it back to your hand and just summon it again and draw. It's absolutely crazy, the card advantage that you end up generating with this. So you can see that we're playing quite a few 3-drops here. 3 drops is when this deck really starts to gain gas. I'm also going to play 3 Rafiki. This card is basically, again, a 3-card removal, or a 3 mana removal, I should say. Ooh, for some reason it's not loading up here, but that's fine. It's a rush 3, so as soon as you play it, you can challenge right away. It's a 3/3 body. It's non-inkable though, so again, this is like one of the first, or is it the first non-inkable card that we're playing here? Getting some connection errors on BlueStack, so that's okay. Moving on, Jafar as a challenger +3 for a 4-drop is half decent as well because he's got 5 toughness. But I think you might want to play around with the deck, see if you need the 4-drop. I played with, I think I played with 2 in mind. So we'll put 2 in for now, see how that goes. Let's move on. We don't play Scar. We don't play any of these. The Dragonfire, again, a non-inkable card, but it's really good to deal with the evasive characters that you might run into. So you definitely should be playing it. At least 3, I think. You don't need 4 because, again, it's not inkable. It is high cost, so you don't want to be bricking on it. Your main form of removal is going to be this Maui. Nothing is surviving 6, right? Like almost nothing. Big, huge boss monsters might, but like you dealing 6 damage to something right away as soon as you play this card is absolutely insane. As soon as they tap, if they quest or challenge, they've got vulnerable bodies on board. This Maui is cleaning everything up. With the Dr. Facilier, you're just playing this every turn, cleaning up the opponent's board while you're questing for a lot. It's crazy, and maintaining card advantage. We don't play Mulan, but this is another option you could play, but I just find you don't need it. It doesn't synergize with the strategy we're going for. The Queen, I haven't actually tested this. Like, I have it in the deck, but I haven't actually drawn it to test it. But I honestly don't think you need this now that I've seen how the deck plays over 2 matches, because the amount of advantage you generate with a Dr. Facilier, you don't need the extra draw power. So I would probably say you don't need this, but I'm going to leave it in there for now. We'll reevaluate the deck after we put it together. Aladdin, this is one of your main boss monsters. Shift 5 on top of your existing Aladdin, so you can play it for lower cost, 5 instead of 7. It's inkable as well, so if you brick on 2, you can ink 1. But this is the crazy effect. So whenever you banish another character in a challenge, you gain 2 lore and your opponent loses 2 lore. That's absolutely insane. You out a body, you gain 2 lore, so it's like you quested, and then you also take away 2 lore from your opponent. That's absolutely nuts. And then, if this card gets banished when you have your Dr. Facilier up, it just comes back to your hand. And then, if 7 mana, you have 7 mana to play, you just play the Aladdin again next turn. Absolutely busted. So this card, I was playing 4, but I brought it down to 3. Yes, you do want to see it, but with the draw power you have in the deck, the Maleficents, the Pot of Greeds, or Friends on the other side, you likely will see at least 1 copy. So I think 3 is enough. And then the Elsa, this is kind of like a secondary boss monster. It does cost 8, but it can shift for 6 on top of your 3 cost Elsa. And this card is crazy because you can exert up to 2 chosen characters. So if the opposing characters have ward, meaning they can't be targeted essentially or can't be chosen, you won't be able to tap them. So keep that in mind. But this card, if your opponent is kind of trying to build up a board, not play into your Aladdin, you drop this Elsa right next turn on 8 mana. You tap 2 of their cards, your Aladdin goes in, generate the advantage, right? Or your rush characters go in, like your Maui, you clear their board, generate advantage. Maui gets banished with the Dr. Facilier on board, you bring it back to hand. So this card, or this deck, the way it is here is pretty insane. Oh, and then of course you play the Dark Hole. Be prepared. It does cost 7. It's not inkable, but in case you do run into a player that's maybe, like, let's say, focusing on solely evasive cards, you could lose that game. So you definitely want to play at least 2 of this, if not 3. But the fact that it's not inkable and it's so high cost is a bit of a risk. So again, you're playing 2 Elsa, 3 Dr. Facilier. That's 5 non-inkables plus 2 Be Prepared. So that's 7 non-inkables. Your Aladdin is inkable, but it's high cost. And then everything else should be inkable except for, okay, again, the Dragonfires, and I think it's the Rafikis. Yeah, so 3, we don't play Scar. Accidentally clicked on that one. So 3 is 6, 2 is 8, and then, okay, 10, 13 non-inkable cards. Not too bad. You shouldn't be bricking. We got 3 more spots to fill, though. So again, wherever you think you need to fill in the gaps, you could put some lower costing cards in, some challenger cards in. If you think like, hey, I'd rather have, this is my only 4-drop, maybe I want to play 4 of this so that I actually have something to play on turn 4 maybe. And it's an inkable card, so I'm not going to brick on it early on. 4 is a very interesting number in this game, same with 3, because it's like you're starting to ramp up, but you're still kind of in the early stage of the game. So I think you definitely want to have the utility that you need to generate the advantage early on, like with the Friends on the other side and the Maleficent. But you also want to have the gas to say, well, if I do need to establish a board turn 4, turn 5, I can do that while I wait for my big boss monsters. So yeah, we got 59 here. You can play like a 4th Rafiki or a 4th Tibbs maybe might be good, just to have more consistency in the early game. And yeah, I think that's it. So that is what more or less my deck list was. And yeah, you can see how strong it can be. You're readying up your characters early on, so you're protecting them. You're building up card advantage. The blue-green ramp deck can be tough to deal with because they also draw off Mad Hatter, and their Kuzco puts on a lot of pressure with being a 3 lore. But you can definitely see how this deck can maintain advantage. And with the rushing, you can definitely take out the Kuzcos and the Mad Hatters, giving them minimal advantage off of it. And with the Dragonfires, you can also take out problematic cards, as long as they can be chosen. But problematic cards that might be tough to deal with, like evasive characters. So if you like this deck list video, a like would be appreciated. Again, make sure you check the link in the description for the deck in action. You can see how powerful it is and the card advantage that we do generate. That's going to wrap it up for this video though, guys. Quantum is out.